I was born in California, and I spent most of my childhood living in countries overseas, South America, Africa. And I saw firsthand what happens when an economy doesn't work, and when the government gets stronger and takes away people's rights, and only the rich and the government officials are allowed to own guns. I moved to Solano County was always my family's home. We would always come back here for our home leave. When I graduated from high school, I went to University of California, Davis. Graduated from there in 1980 and moved to Solano County, where I've been raising my family for the last almost 30 years. I've worked I retired after working 26 years for the state of California in law enforcement, worked for the Department of Homeland Security, and I also worked in our embassies in Liberia and Cyprus and Jamaica. And my duties there were processing people who wanted to come to this country as immigrants through the legal system. We have a legal system that works, and that's what this country is about. And the reason I'm running is I want to restore the Constitution to the U.S. Congress and to this country. You're going to hear a lot of suggestions tonight from people about things they're going to do when they go to Congress. But a lot of those things are not Congress's responsibility. The responsibility of Congress is to ensure that the states have their right to do what is the state's responsibility. The Constitution specifically designates what rights and what powers the federal government has. The 10th Amendment designates the rest of the powers to the states. Obviously, we need to do something to prepare this country for the 21st century. And energy, we need all kinds of energy. We need fossil fuel, we need nuclear power, we need new technology. But all you had to do was drive here tonight, and you're going to see where our energy is going. This Highway 80 out here is a mess. It's been a mess for almost 10 years. When traffic has to slow down, when traffic backs up, that wastes energy, and it also creates pollution for our environment. This state, this district, is way behind on highway development and highway construction. This district gets a disproportionate amount of money back than all other districts. There's 435 districts in this country. We are 400th in the amount of federal dollars we get back for every federal dollar we pay. The people who've been representing us in this state and this district have not been doing their jobs. They go to Washington, they take care of their personal business, and they're not taking care of the state business. Congress needs to restore power to the states. They need to take our tax dollars back, and the state needs to be able to spend them where they want. If a state wants to develop nuclear power, that's fine. If a state wants to drill for oil, that should be fine too. Federal government needs to quit regulating power and energy development. But most important of all, we need the money and the power back at the state level.
Mr. Clift.
I'm running as a Liberty Republican, and one of the things we stand for is that the Congress has abrogated its responsibility with the banking industry and allowed for the establishment of the Federal Reserve. Those powers need to go back to the congressional branch of our government. The executive branch needs to be accountable. We need to audit the Federal Reserve, and we need to restore that power back to Congress. As far as the credit union loaning money like you're asking to do, the banks don't want that because they don't want to have to compete with the credit unions. And that is legislation that, based on what I've heard tonight, I would support as a congressperson. The banks need more competition. And again, as a Liberty Republican, we were against bailouts from the beginning. The Republican Liberty Caucus that endorsed me was against bailouts when they were popular. It's not no more bailouts, it is no bailouts. Yeah, I'm against amnesty. There is a process for people who are here in this country illegally to become American citizens. It's called immigration court. You go to the court, you explain what you did illegally, and the court can sometimes let you stay here. It doesn't have to. Of course, you broke the law. This country needs to start by securing our border. We need to have a legal system for people to come here and work here and leave when their time is up. We cannot be at war with the rest of the world in the Middle East and have an open border. Everybody knows when you get attacked, the first thing you do is you set up a perimeter. We still have not set up a perimeter around this country since the attack on 9/11. I was talking to an individual today by the name of Walter, and I told Walter that I was taking a lot of heat on my no amnesty position. And he told me that he's an unemployed contractor and he can't get any work right now because there are people here who are here illegally, standing outside of Lowe's and Home Depot, and they're taking all the work from him. Furthermore, my last 10 years that I worked for the state of California, I personally paroled over 5,000 illegal illegals who committed felonies in this state. And what did the federal government do? They gave them a date to go to immigration court. They don't even bother to pick convicted felons who are in this country illegally up. We don't even deport those. So it's about the rule of law. If you want to be an American citizen, you need to follow the law. You need to apply to come here. You need to learn about our country, about our Constitution and our language, and then there's a process to immigrate here. Just like there's a process to appeal to the court to stay here if you're here illegally. Thank you. America has, if not the best health care in the world. The reason we have that is because we have competitiveness, we have free enterprise, and unfortunately sometimes when you buy the best product, it costs the most. The President's press secretary today said that health care has doubled in cost in the last 9 years, and that's going to bring the country down. Well, you know, the price of gas has also doubled in the last 9 years. And the reason things are getting more expensive is because this dollar is becoming worthless because we don't produce anything in this country. We have a government that is telling us to consume instead of helping businesses become productive. It's not healthcare cost that's driving out businesses from California in this country. It's government regulation and too many taxes. The President says that we already have a national system of healthcare that's working very well. He calls it Medicare. And then in the same sentence, he says that there's a lot of waste in Medicare that we can reduce and then pay for a lot more people to have health care. I say, cut the waste first, and then show me the money, Mr. President, and then we'll use that money and give it back to the states and maybe have some local health care plans at the state levels funded by federal money that is taken by us, and it'd be much more efficient, and individual communities can meet their own needs. Thank you. I absolutely do not support future tax increases. We need to spend our monies more efficiently. Our federal government currently has about $600 billion in federal tax revenue and is spending almost $2 trillion a year. Anybody who has a budget at home knows that you can't live that way. We're spending money overseas in 3 undeclared wars. We're building schools in Afghanistan while closing schools in Solano County. The government needs to live within its means. And the way to start doing that is start taking federal responsibilities that are not given to the federal government by the Constitution and giving them back to the states. One simple thing to do is the U.S. Department of Education. There is no U.S. Department of Education in the U.S. Constitution. Education is a state's right and a local issue. We need to give that money back to the states. Let the states do school vouchers if they want. Let the states reimburse families for doing homeschooling. Let the states use their monies for education systems that work best in each individual state. The U.S. Department of Education takes a huge amount of money right off the top before it starts giving the money back to the states. And having worked for the government for over 30 years, there is very little that our government does good. We used to laugh when we used to show up at people's office and tell them, we're here from the government and we're here to help you. If you think that the government is going to make our healthcare system more efficient and cheaper and save us money, good luck, because it's not going to happen. So again, the government has plenty of money. We need to live within our means, and we need to balance our budget. And future tax rate increases, I would absolutely not support those.
Gary Clift.
Thank you. Yes, the voters of this district have a unique opportunity to pick somebody who represents the district and the voters. And most important of all, the Constitution, which is the key to our republic being strong. Taxes are not the foundation of a democracy. The Constitution is the foundation of our republic. And if we look at the Constitution, there's many answers in there to bring power back from the federal government and give it to the states and save money. One of the most dangerous things to a government and government officials is borrowing money from banks, especially foreign banks. When we borrow money from China, which we're doing right now in huge dollar amounts, we are at their demand and they control our government. It's not the voters. Our government has to respond to the debt, and that debt is owned by a foreign country. If you think we're dependent on foreign energy, this dependence on dollars to consume products that we import from other countries is much more dangerous to our liberty and our republic. I'm running because I'm sick of the same old people in Congress taking care of themselves and not us. California has 55 members in Congress, 2 senators, 53 Congress representatives. They should represent this state. Do you know that for every dollar California pays in federal tax, we get 80 cents back? Do you know that some states get $2 back for every dollar they pay? Our Congress has not been doing their job, and it's time that we send a person to the U.S. Congress to represent the people of California. When you look at this pool of candidates, you have some very capable people here who will represent the people, but you also have some people here who are running based on their resume from California government. I don't think that California government has been running well enough that we would want to send somebody to the U.S. Congress to help improve the way it's been running. Thank you.